Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to Not the Droids podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Mary, and today we are discussing the last three episodes from Andor season 2 that dropped. What was the date?
It dropped on May 13th, and you said the last episodes of Andor season 2. These are the last episodes of Andor, period.
I don't like that when you say that way.
But
The
that's so
show
sad.
is, I know, but honestly, it makes me laugh because I was so not into this show at first. So not into it. And now I'm very much like, the show is literally one of the best things I have ever seen.
And next we get to
Ever.
watch Rogue One.
Yeah, we do. So the titles of these episodes were Make It Stop, Who Else Knows, and then Jeddah Kyber Urso. And it was just so good.
So good. My mom
I
keeps being like, "Are we gonna watch Rogue One?" Because we had finished it. I'm like, I can't until we
we
record.
gotta record.
Like I
I
have
know.
to record first because I don't want my brain skewed for the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to watch it, but I'm waiting, so I'll probably watch it soon. But it's the way they're setting everything, they took all the storylines and worked backwards was so cool.
Hmm.
Introducing people, doing all this stuff. And I also like because we know certain characters are not in Rogue One. Um, and I like how we see why,
Yeah.
right? So I would like to say you were like, I don't think we're gonna get Luthen and Dedra. The fact that we got them almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
So it's just seeing them meet everything that happens and then how the reason why we don't see from their characters again.
Hmm.
I like how they very much did that and
We even
still.
saw Bix. We didn't think we were gonna see Bix.
Yeah, I'm kind of I understand why they did that. Like if we're gonna start with going through Bix, so we got Bix in these. I just know that some people will be like, what was the point of that?
Hmm.
Other than to show hey, everyone knows that he does not make it through. So here's this little bit of knowledge that's great for you when you're missing this character. You know what I mean? I feel like it was.
I don't think it had anything to do with Cassian. I think it was closure for what happened to Bix, because everyone would have been like, hey,
Yeah.
here's Bix in this situation, and they had to close her storyline for
Yeah, they
Rogue
closed her
One.
storyline. I feel like they had to
And
close
and
Demo's.
exactly. And we
We
saw
were
another
like,
droid. Like they closed up that line, and I think they needed to do that because then people would have been like, "You left loose ends, and there's nothing left." But we had this character that
yeah,
everyone really liked, and we don't know what happened to her. But now we know.
that's true. I guess that is true. We did get a bunch of stuff tied up because we even got Perrin at the very, very end there. Um, I wish we got a little bit of more of Perrin. I would have loved to see Lita and Perrin and a little
Yeah,
bit more about what their life is like now
yeah.
that Mon is the leader of the rebellion,
Mhm.
especially because that lady that Perrin was with, isn't that gangster's wife?
I don't know.
Who really was she and why? I mean, I was like, he has the same car, new driver. But I was just kind of they didn't give us enough of it for me to be like, oh yes, I'm satisfied with how this character arc ended.
But I don't think it was like important enough to really like.
Well, they added it into the final sequence, so like it had to have been some sort of important.
I think they were just closing up the character ties of what's happened.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wish we got like one more scene that explained like he's still living in Coruscant, but like what does that actually mean for him?
Yeah, but that's like not one scene. Like, like
I
you'd have to
guess
dive in when it comes down in the grand scheme of things. He was not. He was always like,
he's always like a background. Well, I mean, I feel like he was a background character, but they like introduced his interest in the wedding scene. Like, I don't, I saw something online that said that they like one point they thought about filming a scene, or they did film a scene
hmm.
where like him and Mon Mothma like reunite, and he talks about how like he knew. And I'm just like, I'm kind of curious if like they cut it because it was just too oddly placed in
Well,
this
it was also
show.
like extraneous information. Like,
Yeah.
do we want to know more? Yeah, but when it comes down to it, him knowing or not knowing adds nothing and does not move the story along.
We could probably just assume by him being in the final montage that like maybe he does know and he's thinking about
Well,
it.
he obviously knows now.
Well, yeah. But
The whole world knows
or
now.
maybe he knew and he just like it's one of those things like if she had given him the opportunity to show that he could have supported her
Yeah.
and gone with her, like would he have? I don't know. So I guess I like that he was in there. I personally would have wanted just a little bit more context.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole Bix thing, I still think about it and I'm just kind of like, I wonder if like they also did that because so that at one point down the line, if they wanted to explore like different character arcs in the galaxy that weren't focused on Jedi,
hmm.
if maybe they would bring
I
this
mean, we're
like
already
call
getting a
back.
character arc that's not a Jedi in the form of Ryan Gosling.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ryan Gosling's got a Star Wars movie, and he's a pilot.
Oh, right. Yes. I was like, I feel like I saw something, but I wasn't really paying attention. But like, but that's what I mean is it's like, are they going to eventually maybe leave that door open so that if they want to do like
I don't
later
know. It just
content,
depends on if they decide to expand the universe during a time period where we know what's happening during that time.
yeah.
Because from here on out, we're in like movie territory.
But then it's like they could do something if it's in between like episodes 6 and 7, because that's when that kid would be grown up. No, like, so that's where I'm just like, I
Yeah, I
wonder.
don't.
I don't know. They could have closed out Bix without adding a baby. It was just like very intentional.
But by adding a baby, it also gives you the reason why she left the rebellion. It gives her more of a reason for her actions
Yeah.
to be leaving. So it actually explains a lot more of because her like leaving came out a little out of left field, like, but now we know why.
It's funny you say that because I don't think it does, to be honest. I guess, like, for me, it didn't not make sense if she wanted him to focus on the rebellion and he was always 1 foot out because she was there and he wants her to be safe. So, like, I don't know. We'll have to agree to disagree. I'm not like a 100% on that storyline being necessary. But I am glad that we got to see it actually came up on screen and I was like, oh look, it's BMO. And I actually thought that it was just gonna be her there. Like I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Like she went somewhere safe. So it was nice to see BMO with the kids and know that he was content. Dedra was just art.
That scene where they put the finger on her head, that wasn't scripted. That
I
was an
know
actor choice.
I saw the interview where she talks about that. And like her face is literally like how startled she was
Hmm.
because she was like, he was so terrifying, like in the moment, and it was just so startling. And I was just like, this is why this is so good. Like, this show is such a master class in like building tension and storylines and stuff like that. And so, like, also to see her being interrogated when like she is someone who doesn't feel like she needs to be, like she just does what she needs to. And so like when he was like, you show a lot of competency and stupidity for someone, like why would you confront Luthen on your own?
Yeah.
Like you got to the point where you figured out who he was. You figured it out yourself. You combed through these reports and everything. But then you're like you had such hubris that you were like, I have to be the one to catch him. Because like I think about how crazy and different it could have gone for her if she had looped him in before going, and if they had just gone in without the little like villain
Yeah.
monologue that needed to happen. Also, like I don't know how she didn't see the sacrifice play coming in.
Yeah.
The second they touched the dagger, I was like, I know what's gonna happen. So
And with an interesting turn of events, she ends up right back in she ends up in
I
that
love
same
it.
prison.
It's
I was just like,
so poetic in Arcana 5. It's so poetic. Especially since she's so stoic throughout the whole series, like watching her crumble at the end. Like her and Cyril, the way their lives kind of end, it's kind of fitting that Dedra didn't die and she is now back under like Imperial control, just in a different way, because she
yeah,
grew up in one of their orphanages. This is essentially the same thing.
yep. So we spent this entire season not remembering Clea's name.
I know that girl, and now I can't forget it. Like we really, really learned her backstory, and it's different than I thought. And it's funny because at one point I thought that maybe she was Cassian's sister, and then I realized I think they wanted us to kind of draw a little bit of like,
Parallel.
yeah, because that's why like Cassian's so insistent, right? Like I'm not leaving her behind. Like you can't just stay behind. And it's insane to me that like the thing that started everything is just such a non sequitur at this point. It's like Cassian hasn't even mentioned his sister looking for her anything. And so to see all those parallels and like she was alone, she was found, she was raised by a person.
Mhm.
But the very big difference between Cassian's mother and Luthen and how they've grown up
Yes.
is so interesting. But I don't know why I didn't see that full story, like that kind of background. Like I didn't guess that she was a girl that he was like on a planet doing like the Empire's work, and that she's the reason he defected, like
Hmm.
officially.
So, and the producer, showrunner, one of them, I don't remember who I read articles about, said that they specifically like left that door open about his sister.
Yeah, that's why it's like I wonder if like later down the road they might like throw a hint like throw it into something as like a callback to
Well,
Andor.
they also like leaving some stories open for the possibility. It doesn't mean it's necessarily ever going to
Yeah.
happen, but it's like the possibility of something happening.
I feel like that's the whole thing with Star Wars, right? Like if you think
Well,
about
it's
it,
not
like
even just Star Wars. Like, think of people who came in for like one shots. Like, perfect example is like, I don't know if you watched Arrow.
a little
Um,
bit, yeah.
So Felicity Smoke was supposed to be just an Easter egg, and then she became one of the main characters in the for the rest of the seasons.
I heard she was just like such a fan favorite that they decided to keep
Yeah,
her
she
on.
was. She's one of my
And I
favorite
think,
characters in it, but she was supposed to be like a one or two episode
yeah,
pop-in side character that happened to work at the office. But like
I,
people do that all the time because like you don't know which characters are gonna hit. You also want to like have the ability to be like, well, this story has ended, but we do have other characters sitting around that we can
yeah. But
continue
I
with.
mean, Clea is still alive too. I read a thing where they actually, the actress who plays Clea,
Mhm.
once they found out how good of an actress she was, they ended up expanding her role a little bit
And that happens.
because, and I
'Cause
was
it was
like,
her
that's
first
so
role, wasn't
perfect. It
it?
was her first role out of drama school,
Yeah.
which is wild. Because like in the scene, right? Like we see her grow up after everything that happened with Luthen, she still goes into the hospital, right, to just take care of a loose end, essentially, which
Yeah.
is what he taught her to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that scene is so crazy because it has action, it's emotional, but it's not like loud. I love the part in the security. They're like, it was like a three-man team, and then you just see like her,
Yeah.
and they're like, it was only her. And I was like, how do you feel, guys? How do you feel? Um, but yeah, so like I'm glad that we got that depth to Luthen because it really highlights the fact that this man gave everything to the rebellion, only to be kind of a thorn in the leadership side to the point where like the information he died for him, Lonnie, that was his name, right? Lonnie, the ISB mole.
I forget, but still, him, not Ron Weasley.
Yeah, the not Ron Weasley. They died for it, right? Like
Yeah.
he takes it so
And he had his
seriously.
family.
I kind of agree with like I've seen some things online where they were like this was always Luthen's exit plan because he knew that if he tried to escape with his family, that the Empire would never let them go, especially with this sort of information.
Yeah.
And so to kill him in the street like that with no cameras, it actually provides protection for his family.
Or Luthen could have let him out when he wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know. So, um, it's just like intense to see the extent in which Luthen goes to get this information
Yeah.
out. He doesn't make it all the way out. Like, it's also, he went to the shop. I think about like what would have happened if Clea actually did go to the shop. And it's just kind of like, I wonder if she would have been more efficient about destroying the comms. Because I was like, he stopped. He stopped destroying them, and he's the reason why some of it was left. Which brings us to one of my favorite scenes in the whole of Andor, I think, which is like a K2 scene. But I don't know. I thought it was a really fitting end to Luthen because he died just the way he like lived in like kind of silence in the
Yeah.
background
Yeah.
and like without like a big fanfare and stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like people probably don't even ever remember know his name.
No. So, K2.
He's hilarious.
I love K2. Alan Tudyk, man.
Alan Tudyk's amazing, but like this droid is such a perfect droid for the tone of this show.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, especially the bridge scene where he's just like he's trying to get across from them and he's like, they can't hear me. I obviously have to go. And he just walks and the that poor person from ISB. I saw a TikTok that was like, imagine training your whole life to be on this like special forces team for the ISB and then just getting yeeted off of a bridge.
Not wrong.
But it's like so brutal and efficient the way he does it, right? Like you see why Cassian wanted to take one of those types of droids.
Yes.
Like they're pretty invincible. So where were we? Key
Me too.
two. Yeah, I think they did a really good job of reminding us how ruthless those droids are, especially his hallway scene was efficient
Hmm.
and stylized. So, I don't know. I am excited for Rogue One because like I remember liking him a lot, but I don't really remember any of his scenes.
Yeah,
So,
I'm ready for Rogue One. I've been wanting to watch it, but I'm like, you cannot watch it. But someone decided to be busy all weekend.
yeah, yeah. Well, I told you I could have recorded on Thursday, but you there were too many episodes.
There's a lot of episodes,
I know.
and you need to like digest them.
Yeah, it was a
It's not
lot.
like Young Jedi where we can watch them and be like, bam, bam, bam.
Cyril,
He's
it's so
dead.
crazy. I know.
He died last set.
I know he died last set, but I still think about him because I think about like it's been a year, right? Like you don't see any hint of losing him in Dedra's
No.
demeanor at all. I know, but it's just like it's so sad for him still. Like his whole life was essentially useless. No one thinks about him a year later, not at all. And that's where it's just like also I was watching a thing where they're just like Cyril's story is like such a foil to Cassian's, right? So like watching Cassian's story unfold, you're just like the impact that Cassian has made, the lasting impact he has made in so many people's lives, just doing what he does without trying to prove himself, right? Like
Well, he
he's
also
not,
didn't want it.
yeah, he
Like,
doesn't want the glory, and it's just like it's such a different ending for Cassian than for Cyril, right? Like he is one of the like reasons the rebellion was so successful. Um, and Cyril was just nothing. I don't know, I keep thinking about it because I can't, as much as I hated him, I'm just like, I feel like that poor character just ended in such a terrible way. I don't know.
and then
Justice for Cyril.
we see a lot more of Bale.
Yeah, the actor switch had to happen, right? Because there was I think scheduling
I think it
conflicts.
was, yeah, it was scheduling.
And I think they did it very respectfully. I and I also think that we weren't supposed to like him. Not
I think
really.
that's the
I
case.
not like him, but I think that we were supposed to like as a leader of the rebellion, you would think that like he would be more open to like information coming in about
I think they're still at a point where they have to be really careful because they could like blow it all up and it's not, they don't have any information yet. And when it comes down to it, Cassian has always played things a little wild and loose, especially when it comes to
yeah.
Luthen. So like it is a risk. The fact, the thing that bothered me is that they didn't bother to go speak with Clea
Yeah, like they never
as
talked to
the like they just talked to second hand party who literally only had snippets because they were in the middle of a rescue mission.
yeah, like
Like the fact
she
that she was there and no one like Mon was very smart to go get Vel and be like, I need you to go
talked
suss
to
this out.
her to be like, what do you think of the
But
information?
Mon sent Vel to talk with Cassian, not Clea. And she ran into Clea while leaving Cassian's. She wanted to
Yeah.
hear the whole story from Cassian, so they still like disregarded Clea because she was associated with Luthen. And like I understand like you don't like how he did things and it just didn't work out, but you should still at least hear what she has to
Well, but
share
like that's and
and
that's
then
where it's like
decide.
crazy to me. Like that's what Cassian is fighting so hard for. Like you knew this man. this is the information he died to get to you.
Yeah.
Like, not to get to himself to do so. He died getting it to you.
Hmm.
And so for them to just like dismiss it so offhand and be like, well, we know you're close with him, so like
Yeah.
you have history.
I
But
think it was such a telling moment when they're talking to them. I was like, when was the last time you even saw him? And he's like, when I saved you. Like,
yeah, oh my God, that moment was so funny because I was just like, they were like a year ago, and he's like, yeah, when he sent me to save you, rightfully so.
mhm.
His information was true. Cause like, and that's where I think he was trying to remind Mon, and that's why Mon was like second guessing.
And she's like,
Right.
we don't like his methods, but when it comes down to it, he does get,
He gets information that
it's
like
worth
is hard to
sussing
come
out.
by. That's why I'm like, the fact that they like when he was with the whole panel, which two of them, I don't even know who those people are. Like, what did you even do to get here? Whatever.
I don't think they can
But
introduce you to the whole, because we're used to seeing rooms like that in other Star Wars that is the rebellion. Like we're used to seeing the like decision-making
circular, yeah.
process and the people that are in charge of these things. But
I don't know. And I know they can't do it in this show, but like watching it as like a casual watcher, I was just like, who are you and why are you here? Like, why are you at the decision-making table? Um, but yeah, so I guess it's just like they just kind of like want to be like, well, Luthen brought this information and we don't trust him, so like we're not even going to investigate it.
yeah.
Like that's the part that I was like, that's so wild to me. Because the other thing is it's like Cassian is like, if you're looking at this information separately, it hasn't made sense why that they're doing this. But
Yeah.
when you add this one piece of information, all of it makes sense now.
Mm.
All of it makes
Well, and
sense.
it's also like if you put all the pieces together, even like if Cassian gets the full story, he realizes he was in this prison building things that like it should
That's
link
why
up.
like he has so many different perspectives of this.
Yeah.
And that's where it's just like the parts where like Clea was like, we have been trying to like figure out why the Empire is so obsessed with Kyber and like with Gorman. And now when you see that this is what they're trying to do, it makes sense. And I agree. And so like to sit and watch a council that won't even entertain the idea. Right. It's just wild to me. Like, I understand being paranoid about where the information is coming from, but you have enough information to start going into your network and seeing what you can confirm. The whole Saul Guerrera thing, like the Forrest Whitaker, I still don't get it. I still don't understand this crazy lunatic, and like it doesn't make me more interested in his side of the story and like where he's coming from. Like I'll say that's the one thing. Like I'm sure people like that part, but I'm like it has been such like a wild entry like
I
every time
feel
we
like
see
he's
him.
more of like an Easter egg for the other content that he exists in.
Maybe that's why it's
And
just
you
like I
just
don't.
don't know the whole story yet. You just keep getting these glimpses of like, why does this guy matter? Like, what does he do? And I
Yeah,
think it
and
was more of like, you haven't seen the content yet to piece it all together.
yeah, I'll be watching something and I'll be like, "Oh, that's why I keep getting all of these like crazy tidbits of this man."
Yeah.
But like I said, in the context of like Andor, it just feels so out of left field
Yeah.
every time. Like I feel like it could have been fine if we had the original introduction to him and like maybe like glimpses of him, but like the cuckoo-ness, I was
Yeah.
just like the whole thing with Will, I was like, this is too much. This is too much. But I did enjoy kind of like how all the ISB officers, like the way that they handled everything in Andor, eventually blew up in their own faces. And like
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form, they also helped the rebellion by being bad at their job, I guess we could say,
Yeah.
or poor decision makers. So that's why. And then Cassian in this, like, I guess I just love that he left without like a moment's hesitation. He was just like, this is like the end game help beacon. They wouldn't do this unless it was. No, I guess like it was nice to see Cassian as like the solid one.
Hmm.
Like they sent out the help beacon. Like she was so intensely sending it out because like she just didn't know what to do at that point. Like,
Yeah. She didn't have an escape plan like everything
no.
was.
And so like to see him, I think she was just like, he's the guy. He always comes through. He never
Yeah.
fails. So
Yeah.
like, but I do like that even after all of that, she was like, I'm not going there. I'm
Yeah.
not going to the rubber.
Like,
And I
no.
would love to see
They
like
won't accept
how,
me there. They won't listen. Like,
yeah,
and she's not wrong when it comes down to it. She is
no,
not
because they
wrong.
don't.
And you see that scene where she's like, she leaves like the infirmary and she's just walking because she has no idea. And thankfully, Vel just finds her.
Yeah, she basically is like losing it because like the
Yeah.
adrenaline's finally worn off. Like she's in a safe space, and now she has like
But at the
no.
same time, she's like, she doesn't think it's a safe space. Like,
That's true. Not that they would kill her, but like,
no, but like, she doesn't know if she's welcomed or,
yeah. And I wonder if like I just like if she now feels like rudderless, like
yeah.
Luthen always is the one with the plan. Like she argued with him, but at the end of the day, like she was following his
Well, it's
lead.
also like she doesn't have like her support system essentially. Like, she's now like actually alone
Yeah.
because she never
So,
like had things outside of what they were doing.
so yeah.
But
So no,
so the next thing we will do is watch Rogue One
Rogue
and
One.
see how this continues.
Yeah. So I guess until then,
We're not
we're
the
not the
droids you're
droids
looking
we
for.
but we're the droids you're gonna get.